Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the March Bank Roadshow meeting. I'm Andrea Mendez-Barrutia, the director. For those who may be new, the purpose of the monthly Bank Roadshow series is to support Milwaukee's banking, financial, and frontline entrepreneur support community with in-depth information on the entrepreneurial ecosystem, programs, and services in order to strengthen our community's existing and budding entrepreneurs. Today, we have Mike George of SCORE Madison, who's joining us. He'll be sharing more information about SCORE Wisconsin. I'll pass it over to Mike, and then we'll open it up to some Q&A.
Well, good morning, and thank you. The Hispanic Collaborative is actually new to me. In Madison, we work with several chambers of commerce, including the Latino Chamber of Commerce and the Black Chamber of Commerce, but I've not been familiar with the Hispanic Collaborative. And so I spent some time looking at the website and Facebook pages, and I'm impressed and I'm pleased to be informed about this wonderful organization. So today I'm primarily talking about SCORE and our experiences, our services, and our opportunities for people to be involved. I first volunteered for SCORE in 2013. I retired from full-time work in 2012 and volunteered for SCORE in 2013. And I've spent, anywhere from 2 to 20 hours a week as a volunteer for SCORE since then. And it's been a good relationship for me, and I hope also for my SCORE colleagues throughout the state and actually throughout the country. So more about that as we go along. Let's see, there we go. I'll get everything started. So as you can see, I am with the Madison SCORE chapter, and you'll hear more about other chapters, including the Southeast Wisconsin chapter as we go along. So I'm assuming that you know, perhaps you've heard of SCORE. Maybe some of you have actually been engaged with SCORE yourselves or through your connections in business, but I'm going to sort of start at the beginning. So SCORE is a nonprofit organization, 100% dedicated to particularly helping small businesses and startups. Recently celebrated a big anniversary because SCORE was established in 1964. Now, SCORE is connected as a partner with the Small Business Administration, and I assume most of you have experience in various ways with SBA. And as you know, the last 2 years in particular, the SBA has been front and center because of the federal funding that flows through the SBA for the payroll protection program and various other government programs that support businesses. And this has really put SBA on the map. And a precedent that was set when the first PPP loan came out is, for the first time ever, loans authorized by SBA were available to nonprofit organizations. And a lot of my personal experience in business has been with nonprofit organizations. So that made me happy. We focus on education and mentoring, education particularly through workshops and now webinars. So we have a clear mission to foster small businesses and communities through mentoring education, and we hope that everyone will be able to find the support they need to thrive as a small business owner. So SCORE is a national organization. Madison is one of 250 chapters. The amazing thing about SCORE is everyone's a volunteer. And in 2020, SCORE volunteers donated 3 million hours of mentoring and leadership and education through both individual mentoring and workshops. I recently found a website that calculated the value of volunteer time, the value in terms of hourly wage, and that was determined to be, and I'm sure many of you volunteer for an organization, including the Hispanic Collaborative, but other organizations. And so just let people know that the calculation says that your time is worth $27.20 an hour. So if, as a volunteer, so if you're not making that much at work, then you have something to complain about. But I'm expecting that that number is kind of in the middle for many people. So in looking at the Hispanic Collaborative website, first of all, I commend the leadership and the people who established this collaborative, and realize that SCORE is also a collaborative. We collaborate with each other. We collaborate with chambers of commerce, with economic development agency, with banks, and with libraries. So we reach out as much as we can to partner, and we've learned some things about collaboration and partners that I want to share with you. So, for instance, we follow this mantra in terms of collaboration, that in an effective collaboration, each member contributes, but also each member benefits. If you have one without the other, often the collaboration does not work. People need to recognize that their involvement has benefits, and the more they contribute to the greater good, the more benefits they realize. But it's also important for each member to retain their own identity, whether it's a personal identity or a business identity. So as you think about collaborations that you have, these are 3 characteristics that are very important. But then what you realize is by working together, it's possible to accomplish things that no one member could do alone. And I'm sure that's true with organizations that you're a part of. So these are some characteristics that we have kind of used as a criteria when we're looking to collaborate with others. When a chamber of commerce is invited to collaborate and they say, well, just how will that work? What will we each get out of it? We remind them of this and the importance. So SCORE in Wisconsin, there are 5 chapters. If you're in Milwaukee, you're located in the Southeast Wisconsin chapter, and each chapter includes multiple counties. I'm in Madison, and we have connection with 11 counties in South Central and Southwest Wisconsin. There's a Fox City chapter, a Green Bay chapter, and then as you can see, if you're chairperson of the West Central and Upper Michigan chapter, you cover a lot of territory. And we're hoping that this can be divided up so that there's more service closer to people's location. But the population, as you know, as you get to this part of Wisconsin and Upper Michigan, there are less people. There are less businesses, fewer businesses. And that leads to a bigger geographic area. So we also have satellite locations, meaning that even if we have an office, for instance, SCORE Southeast Wisconsin has an office in Milwaukee. For quite a few years, they've been in the offices of the Small Business Administration. I believe that's changing, but then they have satellite locations where they will provide mentoring or workshops. When they were in person, they were on site. Now, with everything virtual, it's different, but that will come back. In Madison, we have satellites that are mostly, almost everything here that you see is a Chamber of Commerce. The Evansville Chamber of Commerce, the Latino Chamber of Commerce happens to be located in Fitchburg, the Oregon Chamber of Commerce, Sauk Prairie, and Beloit. Same with Fox Cities, they have satellites in other communities other than where their headquarters is, and Green Bay, and West Central and Upper Michigan. So it's not, everything is not centralized, and with things being virtual today, it's different even more. So SCORE offers mentoring, and for the most part, the mentoring is one-on-one, one SCORE mentor and one client, but it can vary. Sometimes we partner, and we have two mentors working with a client because we need the expertise of another person. We have a chart in our chapter where every member, and we have about 50 members, all volunteers, every member has indicated what areas they feel they have experience and expertise and would be comfortable serving as a mentor in those areas. So we all have access to that information. When we need somebody, say, with marketing experience, we can look at those people who have indicated marketing and call on them if we need help. We're hoping that soon we'll be back to face-to-face, but for now, our mentoring is virtual, and that can be Zoom, it can be FaceTime, it can be email, it can be telephone. And I've done each of those, and it works fine. But it isn't the same as face-to-face. I'm sure you've experienced that as well. So we personalize the mentoring to suit the client's needs, whatever they're looking for. And we try to focus on listening and hearing their story, and then helping in whatever ways we agree are needed. I can say in my own mentoring, right now I have about 20 active clients that I meet with, usually once a month, sometimes twice, depends on where they are in their planning and in their business. But personally, I have met such wonderful people by volunteering as a mentor. I never realized how many people there are where what's most important to them at this point in their life is to be their own boss. And they will work hard. They'll do what's necessary in order to make that possible. It's not always possible, but when it is, it's wonderful to see their success. I've gotten involved in some things that I really didn't know a lot about, but was able to help from a business standpoint, because the basic business processes are the same in many businesses, no matter what the product or the service is. For instance, one of my clients established a sanctuary for primates who are being retired from research labs. So what do I know about primates and research labs? Not very much, but I was able to help with finding a location, purchasing property, and setting up a business and a nonprofit to run it. So another client came to me and said, I want to build a indoor soccer facility. Well, I don't know much about building an indoor soccer facility, but we found a lot of information together online, and it is now up and running and very successful, offering indoor soccer year-round to over 500 junior high school boys and girls. So these are wonderful stories, and I'm always happy to be a part of it. Our mentoring is confidential. We keep information about all of our clients. We keep it in a database so that we can follow up, but that database is totally confidential. We don't share it with anyone else. We may look up contact information for one person if requested, but for the most part, everything is confidential, especially the information that is shared about a person's business. We set up meeting times that are compatible and convenient for both the mentor and for the client. So something, as you know, about a year ago in March, everything shut down. At that time, all our SCORE services, for the most part, were in person. We were doing workshops, we were mentoring people, everything was face-to-face in various locations. And within 30 days, we had to totally turn that around so that everything was converted to virtual. I'm sure you had some of these same experiences in your work and in your business. But we did it. And we thought that we would have a big loss of participation. But in effect, participation increased. As you can see, nationally, mentoring activity increased in the past year from March to March by 24%. SCORE offers recorded webinars that you can access from the SCORE website, and participation in those has increased 48%. So it's been an amazing turnaround. How do SCORE mentors help? Well, we review business ideas. In some cases, if it's a startup or someone just thinking about an idea, it's not unusual to get a call in our SCORE office or an email where someone says, I have this idea and I'd like some help putting a business plan together so that I can pursue it and try to get started. So it starts with an idea. Other cases, people already have tried some things and they're in business, but they want some help to move forward. So we can locate, for instance, legal and CPA services. We don't provide them ourselves, but we have referrals. We can suggest people that our experience tells us have been good. The same with loans and banking. We can suggest banks that do indeed process SBA loans. As you know, not all banks do, but there are many that do, and they're very active. We help people develop a business plan and also guided them through applying for a loan. So then we have people who come to us who already are in business, but they either have a problem they need to solve or they want to grow their business. For instance, it's not uncommon for someone to start a business and they're the only person, and all of a sudden they have success and they need to start hiring help, and they've never hired staff before, and they don't have a payroll system, and so they need to put a whole additional layer on their business, and they need help doing that. Sometimes it's a matter of expanding their market or their products or their services, and really planning. Recently worked with an organization where we spent 6 hours over 3 days developing a strategic plan to help them move forward. And we learned good things both ways by doing that. So we feel there are some benefits to mentoring for the clients because they can ask specific questions and they can get specific answers. Hopefully we help them avoid costly mistakes. They can learn from SCORE mentors. Most of our mentors are people who have been in a business leadership position. Some have been, like me, in leadership, but in a nonprofit organization. But we also have some mentors who are still working full-time, and we accommodate their schedule as best we can so that they can be involved without it interfering with their work. But all of the mentors have experience in one or more areas of business or organizations. We also have a lot of resources, and I'm going to share some with you actually starting right now. So for instance, what you're looking at, and I'm sorry the edges are cut off a little bit, but this is the home page of the Southeast Wisconsin SCORE website. And what you see is that people who come here have a choice up here at the top. Maybe they're looking for a mentor. If they click on find a mentor, they can put in some keywords. You can put in some keywords, I should say, of what kind of help you're looking for. The keyword might be something related to your idea or your business, or it might be a geographic location or a type of expertise. And all of the SCORE mentors, as you become certified as a mentor with SCORE, you write a profile that describes your background and also the kind of help that you can give to clients, so that when somebody goes to find a mentor and they put in some keywords, the search will look at everyone's profile and find a match, more than one, most likely, for what the client is looking for. And this is because of the amazing internet resources and virtual communication. It can be anywhere in the country. So for instance, right now, when I said I have 20 clients, I have 2 clients in California, one in Black River Falls, one in Minneapolis, one in Appleton, and the rest mostly in the Madison area. But when we're working together on Zoom or by telephone or email, it doesn't matter where they're located. So it presents you have access to actually a national database of experienced SCORE mentors. Or you may want to take a workshop. So you click take a workshop and a menu of workshops will show up on what's available. Or you want to look for some resources and we'll browse the library. So when I say workshops, for instance, right now, this is again from the Southeast Wisconsin website. These are the workshops that are currently listed, and 2 have already taken place, January and March, but here's April 3rd, financial statements, April 7th, podcasting, and April 14th, financial statements. So these are some workshops being sponsored by Southeast Wisconsin SCORE. Every SCORE chapter has a menu of workshops that they are sponsoring, but they're open to anyone, anywhere in Wisconsin or even in other states. Then there are, on the SCORE website, the national website, which is score.org, and you have all this contact information on the PowerPoint, but also you'll see it at the end of this PowerPoint. SCORE Wisconsin, or SCORE, the national SCORE website has special sections, like there's a section specifically for women entrepreneurs. And at the top of each SCORE website page, there is a button that you can click to switch to Spanish. So the entire score.org website is available in either English or Spanish. Now, these aren't active pages, these are screenshots, but this is one page where I switched it to Spanish. And as I said, that's possible for every aspect of the SCORE website. There's also a section specifically for Hispanic business owners called the Hispanic Business Owners Hub. And this interesting, you probably know this, Hispanic entrepreneurs are the fastest growing segment of business owners in the US. Bravo from helping one another. And once again, here's a button. If you want to switch this to Spanish, just click this button. This entire hub will then be in Spanish for your use. There are also a lot of online tools that I think you would find fascinating to explore. The score.org website, which is the national website, is truly amazing with the resources that exist there. There's when we were face to face, we shared printed material, and we promote the workshops. And there's a lot. We have a website, Facebook page, as well as LinkedIn. So we get to what most organizations will bring up, and that is how you can help. So some things, and some are simple, some are more involved. For instance, refer clients to SCORE. You can refer them to the SCORE website and go to the request a mentor, and they can find some help. Now, if you are indeed in banking or in finances, sometimes I'm sure you get clients who come in and they'd like to apply for financing, and you can tell they're just not ready yet. You can refer them to SCORE and say, I want to suggest that you spend time with one of the SCORE workshops, or sign up to work with a mentor and come back with a plan. And here's what I need. We always tell people who are thinking of applying for financing, be sure you make contact with someone in a bank or credit union and ask them, what do you need from me in order for me to have a good chance of being successful applying for financing? And then if you're not ready with that, come to SCORE, we'll help you get ready. If you are in business and have a website, we would love to have you post a link on your website to send people to SCORE. But also you can volunteer to be a SCORE mentor. What does that mean? Well, people who want to volunteer for SCORE, and as I said, it can be volunteering anywhere from 2 or more hours a week. It's not something that's going to take over your life. But you can apply online. There'll be an interview with one of the closest chapter leaders, and there are options in terms of volunteering. Not everybody is a mentor. For instance, mentoring is common, but you may want to be a workshop presenter. You don't have time to mentor people on a monthly basis, but you could present a workshop based on the expertise you have, and we would help to plan that and promote it. Or you may offer your expertise as a subject matter expert, and then you would mentor in partnership with a SCORE mentor. Or maybe you're mostly interested in tech or admin support and would volunteer some hours. So that's all very possible to do. So here's some contact information that is a part of this presentation. Dave Maskey is our Wisconsin District Director, and he's located in Milwaukee area. And I am an assistant to Dave, but I also am chair of the Madison SCORE chapter. And this is contact information for the SCORE Southeast Wisconsin chapter. So you can go any direction in terms of making contact. So I just want to say again that I am impressed with the work that's already been done in terms of the collaborative that you're a part of, and that collaboration, you're still a young organization. I think maybe less than 10 years. And
About
so
2 years old now.
Oh, okay. Well, good. So in my world, in my age, that's young. So, but I can see that this is going to have long range impact for all of you, and that these days collaboration is the way to go. So I'm going to stop now. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm going to stop sharing so we can kind of get back to seeing each other.
Thank you so much, Mike. And I want to mention that when we first started talking about the Bank Roadshow series, we asked our members during our community working group meetings, what organizations do they feel should be a part, and present, and SCORE came up many times. So,
Oh, great.
So it's great to finally have you present and to learn more about all of the great services that you offer for our community. So yeah, we'd like to open up to some Q&A, and I don't know if you all want to just unmute and ask a question. That would be great.
I have a question, Mike.
Yes.
My question to you is, what is the beginning stages in the process of an individual coming in? I know you alluded earlier in your presentation about someone coming in with an idea. Can you walk us through the process on how it begins, please?
Sure. Well, and there's several ways to, first of all, initiate a contact with SCORE. And that is telephone. Each of our SCORE offices has telephone access. And if we don't staff the office all the time, but we have, we take voice messages and respond within a day. That's one. We also have email, can send an email on that, and that last slide had email addresses on. And the other is to go to the SCORE website, score.org, and answer a few questions about what kind of help you're looking for, and then submit that, and that will be routed by SCORE to a person who has expertise in what you're looking for and is geographically in your area. So you have three ways to just make the initial contact. Once the contact is made, then a SCORE volunteer is identified. And when I receive a request to respond to a client, I'm expected to respond within 36 hours by setting up an appointment with that person. So that's the first stage, is we agree on a time, and right now that's usually virtual, either telephone or Zoom. And we have our first meeting. Most of the meetings are between an hour and a half, and we explore what the person is hoping to do, what their need is, what their problem is, and agree on some strategies to help. And usually that first meeting is sort of get to know you and understand what the problem is. And then we set up a follow-up meeting. And I have some clients I have been meeting with for 5 years. I have others I've only met twice, and we solved the issue and they went on. And hopefully we're successful, but they know that should they need more help, they know how to find us. They particularly know how to find me. And we're always willing to follow up again. Does that answer it for you?
Yeah, and I just want to do another follow-up question on that as well. I know that your organization is a nonprofit. Now, do you also work with for-profit? If there's an individual that wants to come in and say, I have a for-profit business, and can you help them develop that for-profit business, or you only strictly work with nonprofit?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. No, as a matter of fact, most of our contacts are with businesses, not with nonprofits. The fact that SCORE itself is a nonprofit is a way that we're structured, but the services we provide, and in collaboration with chambers of commerce and with the Small Business Administration, most of the services are for businesses, particularly small businesses. So yes, thank you. I didn't mean to mislead you on that. My experience has been with nonprofits, and we have a lot of nonprofits. Wisconsin has thousands of nonprofit organizations, and they all need help. And most of what they do, they have to follow the same business practices that a for-profit follows. Otherwise, they won't exist very long. So Yeah, so
Thank you.
definitely, you bet. Any other questions?
We had a question. So when the volunteers sit with the clients, is there some type of like roadmap or some type of plan set out or questionnaire that every volunteer follows? Or is it more of like a freestyle once you sit with the business and that person, and do you tailor it personally to them?
Great question. And actually it's both. We do have a protocol that that is used when we first joined SCORE to give us an orientation of how mentoring should proceed. And at the same time, if the client has a very specific need and there's an urgency in terms of time, we respond to that first outside of the protocol. But there's also on the SCORE website, if you search on the score.org website for the startup roadmap, there's exactly what you say. There's, and that's available to all clients. A step-by-step process covering all aspects of business. And I believe there's 11 modules, and you pick the one that's relevant to what you're looking for. And you can do that online. And then you can also make contact with a mentor and discuss that particular resource and how to use it. So we do go through a mentor orientation that is a particular procedure. And then let's say we ad lib from there on in, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet.
Mike, can you tell us a little bit about services for those that are Spanish dominant, and in terms like how do you connect them with a bilingual mentor?
Yes, certainly. And I will say that when I said I joined SCORE in 2013, the SCORE membership in Madison was almost totally older white men. And while you were meeting with peers, we realized very quickly that we had to diversify our membership. And now we have several members who are members of SCORE, but also are members of, for instance, the Latino Chamber of Commerce, and can work in either English or Spanish. The same, we have members who are active in the Black Chamber of Commerce in Madison, and our population in our membership of women, I could say, has gone up like 400%, but that means it went from 0 to 12. So, so we're making progress, but so that it is possible if someone either has to or chooses to collaborate in Spanish, that is possible to do as long as we match them up with the right mentor.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other
today?
questions?
Well, I'm just going to share one personal experience. When I went to my first national SCORE conference in 2017, so I'd been a SCORE member for 4 years, but I'd never gone to a national conference. And there were people there representing over 250 SCORE chapters. And so it was over 500 people. And I have to say, I've been to a lot of business conferences, a lot of organization conferences, but I had never been to a conference where everybody there was a volunteer. And it was the most meaningful, the most high energy. Nobody was complaining. They were there because they wanted to be there. They hadn't been told they had to go. They weren't there because it was a part of their job. It was very exhilarating for me, and it really launched me to want to continue to volunteer and even do more for SCORE. And so volunteering, and I know that most of you volunteer for something. And what would our world be if we didn't have people volunteering? It would crumble and fall. But so volunteering for a nonprofit organization or a cause that you believe in is very, very gratifying, and I recommend it to you. It has meant a lot to me since I retired. I think it's keeping me alive, to tell the truth. So thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you so much for all you do. That was a really great presentation and really helped us understand, all that SCORE does. And we hope, all of the attendees will definitely share the information with those who may be able to use SCORE's mentoring services. A recording of today's meeting will be shared in a follow-up email along with the contact information that you've provided, Mike. And then everyone, please save the date for the next Bank Roadshow meeting on Thursday, April 15th. Everyone, please stay safe, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you again.
Thanks.
So